from the PCTV studios, the Monday Morning Quarterback. Your host, Dave Ridenour.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to yet another edition of the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show. I'm Dave Ridenour, the Monday Morning Quarterback, and we are heading towards the end of October. Lots of good things happening. Playoffs are right around the corner. A big week coming up as we go to week number 10 in our area and our crossover games, which we will talk about a little bit later. But as our norm, we're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, I got Rick Pennypacker, Scott Reed. We're going to break down all last week's action, two really big games that we have to talk about. And then, of course, we'll look at the upcoming games next week. So sit back and relax and enjoy the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show.
Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this.
At Vlahos Dunn Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. Vlahos Dunn Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of Vlahos Dunn Insurance, and we're in your community.
Doc's Irish Pub, the hottest new sports bar around. From live entertainment to countless draft beers, from awesome burgers to the new outside tiki bar. Numerous TVs and Doc's friendly service. Doc's Irish Pub is the place to be. Stop by Doc's today for a leisurely lunch, a quick cold beer, or a delicious bite to eat on a fall night. Doc's Irish Pub.
Hey, we're back here at our PCTV Network studios here in the Pottstown High School, and Dave Ridenour, joined by former Pottsgrove coach Rick Pennypacker and former Park Valley coach Scott Reed. So we have some interesting dynamic there as well. Guys, great to see you all again. Scott, welcome back. It was a big weekend of football for us here, which was the last week of our divisional play, the Frontier and also the Liberty division. Guys, you know, it's heading down the stretch now. We're getting ready for our last week in the crossover games in the district playoffs. It's starting to get a little cold out now, Scotty. It's time to play football.
Absolutely. This is the final week, and we're going to obviously talk about some of these crossovers, which I think is a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of intriguing matchups here. Seeing the Liberty and Frontier division kind of, face off against each other all the way through the rankings. I think that's fun. I enjoy this.
Well, Rick, it's certainly time to play football now. We're in October, starting to get a little cold out there. To me, it's time to play football. And unfortunately, after this weekend, there are a lot of teams that won't be able, that are done, which is kind of sad for me, starting way before Labor Day.
Well, yeah, statewide there will be, but in our area it's going to be exciting because we'll probably have 7, maybe 8 teams in the district playoffs, which we have never had that many before. So I think that this division thing, and going out getting non-league games, maybe that's helped us get more teams in with divisions, or in the playoffs. But still, I like the crossovers. I like, playing those other teams. I want to see how the Frontier division does with the Liberty. Liberty's had their numbers for years and years and years. The Liberty's had the number of the Frontier kids. I think the Frontier guys this week are going to put on a good show.
We hope so. Well, each week we do have our top 5, and let's start off the show with that again. And again, courtesy of the Reinhardt boys. There they are, Keith and Ronnie. Claude Reinhardt, Deacon Reinhardt was a heck of a football player back in the 40s. He started his painting business back in 46, I think, or 48, and they've been carrying on that torch for a long, long time. And again, we want to thank them every year. They love to help us out here on the show. Let's look at our top 5. There we go. Pottsgrove still undefeated on top at 9-0. Perk Valley with a huge win on Friday night at 7-2. Pope John Paul, the most wins in school history, sitting in the 3 spot with 8-1. Springford, disappointing loss Friday night. They're still hanging in there in the 4 slot. And Owen J. Roberts at 6-3 rounds out our top 5. And again, our top 5 is brought to you by the Reinhardt Paint Gang. And guys, you know, it comes down to it, you know, kind of even in the beginning of the year, those were the teams that sort of separated themselves. There were a couple surprises. Rick, you know, you and I thought Boyertown was going to make some noise. We were really surprised that Upper Perk didn't play a little bit better, although, you know, they had some injuries and things. But as it all shakes out, this is kind of the way we thought it might go.
Beginning of the year, we said that, you know, Pottsgrove and PV, they should be 1A because both of them, you got to beat them. Someone has to beat them. They've been the cream of the crop the past 2 years. Going into this year, I thought they would be the same. And as it all shakes out, they're going to play for another Pac-10 championship.
Yeah, and Scotty, you know, it's been a kind of a thing where, you know, the big schools have been dominated by PV and Springford the past few years. You know, Springford sort of set the tempo there for a few years, and now when you got in and now Robbie, you know, PV has jumped itself up there into that higher echelon and a team that people are starting to try to be as the same as, and another big win for PV, but PV and Springford certainly the top of that gang.
Absolutely, and you got to give a lot of credit to Rob Heist and Bill Hawthorne because they got 2 years now where the target is on their back, and when the target's on your back, you're going to get everybody's best game. And we saw that was evident. Methacton gave PV all they could handle. Norristown gave PV all they could handle. Those guys get up for that game because it's like, who wants to knock this guy off the top of the mountain? So credit to both of those coaches for going through their entire schedule, especially on the respective sides, Frontier and Liberty, and coming out undefeated again.
Well, I think what the ultimate compliment is for schools like PV and Pottsgrove is that Don Grinstead and Tommy Hans and all these guys say these are the teams that we're trying to model ourselves again. We want that consistency. We want to be consistently at the top of our division. Dave Lotier in his first year, talking to him, he said, we want to be like PV and Springford. We want to be good year in and year out. And again, Pottsgrove certainly has been the trendsetter in the Frontier division with Rick Pennypacker, obviously, and now, of course, Billy Hawthorne taking over the baton and doing his job at 9-0. So it's interesting to see how this whole thing shakes out. All right, let's look at our scoreboard. Our scoreboard is brought to you by Paul Bauer. Paul Bauer is an attorney that you can count on. And there he is. Give him a call at 610-624-6800 for all your legal needs. He handles everything. He's done a lot of work for me. He's done a lot of good things, everything from a will to whatever you have in your legal life. And he certainly is an attorney that you can count on. All right, let's see what we got here. We have the big schools down the left-hand side. As we mentioned, Perk Valley, which we'll talk about in a few minutes here, with a big win Friday night at Springford. Owen J. Roberts, I tell you, Methacton certainly one of the most improved teams in our area. You know, they win 13-0 there, but Methacton really played well, particularly in the second half. Norristown ekes out a win over the Bears. Pottsgrove continues to roll with his 4th shutout. 31-zip. Pope John Paul wins that big game on Saturday afternoon. And Upper Perk, Tommy Hanks' gang, win by 1 over the Trojans. All right, Rick, let's start talking about Pottsgrove. Obviously, a team that you know a little bit about. They go to play Phoenixville. You know, in the beginning of the year, Pottsgrove were sort of the road warriors. They had a lot of road games in the beginning. Now, the end of the season, they've been fortunate to play a lot of home games. As you mentioned last week, that they could have like 4 or 5 home games in a row with the playoffs and, of course, the crossover games. But they hang 31 up on Phoenixville, and they didn't have their main guy, Isaiah Taylor, for the game, but Isaiah Glover steps in and sort of almost doubles his yearly output with over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns for another big win for the Grove.
Yeah, you know, first off, you know, hats off to Pottsgrove. You know, they went in there and they took care of business. They They run the football like they always do. They held Phoenixville, I think, to like 1.2 yards per carry and only like 45 yards rushing.
77 total.
77 total. Yeah, that's Pottsgrove football. You know, downhill. I'm sure Rob Heiss has watched this film. He knows all about him right now. But you know, Glover stepping in. I think he's a quality kid, a quality back. You know, I know last year when we had Rasul, if Rasul went down, we threw Glover in there, and it was. You know, he wasn't Rasul Faison, but he does a very good
not
job.
bad, yeah.
So you got to give him a lot of credit, but still, I still say it comes down to the upfront people. And the thing I really loved in the paper when Glover complimented his offensive line, and when people do that, and I saw the PV kid did the same thing, you know, that gives those offensive linemen a little bit of incentive to play a little bit harder. But I think they're going on all cylinders. You know, it'll be a great test for them. Hats off to Billy and his staff and the players over there. They ran through the league undefeated, like Scott said. Every team gave their best game, and they went undefeated. And you know, they're ready to go.
How about this Cisco kid, though? Jay Cisco, the quarterback. Again, not an imposing-looking guy. You see him in street clothes and think, oh, my goodness, he's the quarterback of this team. It's 9-0. But week in and week out, he makes the plays that he has to. You know, he did a heck of a job again. He ran for nearly 100 yards and a touchdown, completed 4 out of 7. Does what he has to. Hetty made a big play, got a first down, stepped out of bounds. There's all kinds of things that you need to do, Scott. So obviously having that senior experience at quarterback has helped them as well.
Yeah, and I always hated the statement that a kid is a game manager. That's not what he is. He's out there making plays. He's obviously got to run the offense. He's got to call audibles, make sure they're going. You know, if Pottsgrove's anything like they've always been in the past, they get up there, they find that one technique or whatever, and they're going to run that veer down and do whatever you got to do. So those are the plays and the calls he's got to make up front. When he does pass, he doesn't pass a lot, but he's very efficient. And every one of those passes was almost over 20 yards. So you know that Pottsgrove is running the ball with efficiency when you're getting big pass plays like that. And he's completing those passes. He was 4 for 7. I mean, that's a great stat and plenty of yards in that.
Well, you know, one of the things that we talk about too, Rick, and I know you're a big proponent of special teams.
Yes,
and they got Michael Sereni. This kid can play, and you know he kicks the ball well. He kicks off. He sets a tempo for him. He makes extra points, and we've seen over the last few weeks how big it is to have a kicker who can make kicks for you, whether it's a point after touchdown or a field goal. And I know special teams are close to your heart.
Yeah, Josh Ford does a tremendous job with those kids over there. With Michael Sereni, you know, he's putting the ball in the end zone. He's making them start out every drive at the 20-yard line. He's got great hang time, good hang time on his kicks and everything. And then, you know, I think anywhere from 45 yards in, you're going to kick a field goal with him. So he's a weapon, and I think that's something that you really need to have nowadays. And, you know, I think Pottsgrove is very fortunate to have him.
Well, again, 426 total yards for the Grove. Back to their game, 350 on the ground. And one of the things I found very interesting was Phoenixville did not cross the 50-yard line one time during that game. So they were not in Pottsgrove territory once. Again, a compliment to that defensive front as they make their 4th shutout of the season, 31-zip. And now a game that, you know, a lot of people thought, hey, Pottstown's on a little bit of a roll. They're number 2 in the district going into last week's game. They play Upper Perk, and they get knocked off 21-20, a team who has struggled. Tommy Hans's gang has been banged up all year. They've had some problems over there with personnel, trying to find who is the quarterback, who is this. And Tyrese Reed all of a sudden shows up with his game-breaking speed and his 3 long touchdown runs. Really were the difference in the ball game.
Yeah, we've been looking for this Reed kid all year, you know, and I guess he's been hurt. I really don't know what happened to the kid.
We had a high ankle sprain.
Is that what it was? Yeah. Because I know I saw him on a track meet last year, and I said, wow,
yeah.
I wouldn't want to be trying to get that kid. That kid could fly. But, you know, he comes back. He has 3 touchdowns. You know, he's over for 200 yards total offense. You know, I think he had, 160 yards rushing. But, you know, Wiggins was out. And I think that really, you know, kind of maybe hurt Pottstown a little bit. But the other kid that I like is Figueroa from Pottstown. He was a Pottsgrove boy for, I don't know, for maybe his 9th grade year. But I think he had 2 interceptions. He had 9 receptions on offense. And, you know, it was a great game. I'm happy for Tommy Hans. You know, it's a little bit of credit to him to keep those kids focused, keep those kids moving in the right direction, even when you're losing, you know. And I'm happy to see them come out with a victory.
Yeah, their first Frontier win of the year, which
Right.
was their last one. And I wanted to talk about Darius Smallwood a little bit, Scott. He is replacing probably their best player. You and I did that Pottstown game, and we said, man, we're going to ride this Josiah Wiggins to death, man. RPOs and runs and veers and throw the ball and whatever. And unfortunately, he's bothered by a leg injury. So young Darius Smallwood, a sophomore quarterback, stepped in and did a pretty nice job for the Trojans.
He did a great job. Pottstown came out. This is a 1-point game. I mean, it's that close. We watched Pottstown last week. They lost to Pope John Paul by 6 points. I mean, these games are extremely close. Smallwood came in last week and did a great job in the last drive. He comes in this week. He throws for 118 yards. I mean, that's an excellent job. He had a good, over 50% completion pass rating. And you had Pottstown football. You had Derek Darden and John Oyster both had huge runs over 50 yards.
Yeah.
That's what they do. And unfortunately, they ran into an Upper Perk team that gets Tyrese Reed back, and they have some of their own medicine against them with the big playability. And big plays can always cover up a poorly executed offensive game if that's the way it turned out to be.
Yeah, and Tyrese Reed, it was his first full week of practice, and you know that you got to be able to practice. You got to be able to get out there and go. And I was impressed that Pottstown rushed for 237
Right.
yards, Rick. So
I
that's
agree
certainly
with you.
something that they don't normally do.
And there was all different kids rushing the ball.
Yeah.
Figueroa ran it. The two Dart boys ran it. I think Pottstown is getting better. My hat's off to their staff over there, and I think those kids are becoming a little bit more of a cohesive unit. And going without Wiggins may be good because now maybe they have to try to put some other kids in the mix and everything. But Wiggins is a playmaker, and they need him back.
Absolutely. Again, we always said that one kid's injury, unfortunately, is another kid's opportunity. And I know you guys coach
Right.
that way as well. And as much as you hate to see Wiggins on the sidelines, here's Darius Smallwood steps up now. He's getting some valuable experience, and who knows, maybe they might find a diamond in the rough somewhere along the line. But a big win for Upper Perk. And the third game of the day, or of the weekend, I should say, for the Frontier Division was Pope John Paul and Upper Marion. We knew that was going to be going, Rick. You've been saying all year long that you like Upper Marion's team. Vic Brown's doing a good job, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. And boy, I tell you what, not a controversial, but a gutsy 2-point call by Rory Graver's gang, and they win that game 22-21. There's no time on the clock.
Yeah, hey, both teams are in the playoffs, and you got to give Rory a lot of credit to go for it there. And but I think one of the things that hurt Upper Marion again was the penalties. I think they had about 115.
13 of them. Yeah.
That's a lot of yardage, and PJP played a pretty clean game. But I really like this Gray kid. I think he's a junior. I think he's going to be a factor next year in the Frontier Division, and with all his weapons he has around there, I think they're going to. I want to see exactly a good barometer of PJP will be how are they going to make out with Springford this weekend, and that would be a good barometer. But Roy's doing a great job. My hat's off to him. Good luck in the playoffs. He'll be the #1 seed, and but that was a good Frontier game.
Obviously, though, 8 wins is the most ever for Pope John Paul in the season. And again, they continue to move. And we remember a couple years ago when they didn't win a game. They didn't win a game for a couple years. And now all of a sudden they're 8-1. They're 4-1 in the division. They lost to Pottsgrove, and again, probably one of the best games, if not the best game of the year, particularly in the Frontier Division. And they find a way to win a ball game.
Absolutely. I think the common theme we're seeing a lot is some of these coaching staffs, the guys who've been around. Coach Graver's been around. Coach Brubaker and his entire staff have been around. And Coach Bill Hawthorne is first year, but his entire staff is back. And Coach Heiss, his whole staff has been intact. There's something to these coaching staffs being around a long time. And I just want to say that I think Victor Brown is another guy who's getting his program to climb every single year. And Upper Marion's right in the hunt with these teams. Here you have a 1-point game, ends in controversy, all that other stuff. But hats off to Victor Brown and the Upper Marion Vikings, because I think they're on the rise too.
Absolutely, and they are certainly the most improved team in the Pioneer Athletic Conference. And we talked about his staff, Rick. You like the guys, Scioli and the guy from Phoenixville, John Jackson is down there. So he has put together a quality staff, and the kids continue to buy into his program. They are certainly going to be a team to be reckoned with.
And they're young, and they're very young. And I know that I talked to Don Jackson in the summer, and he said he really liked this team. He likes the character of the team. He likes the way the kids have worked, and I think all of that is part of the building a program, and I think Victor's on the right road.
All right, let's take a quick timeout. When we come back, we're going to look at the Liberty Division and what happened this weekend. We got lots more coming right here on the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show.
This portion of Monday Morning Quarterback is brought to you by A to Z Furniture. A to Z Furniture is located on 296 South Reading Avenue in Boyertown. Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this.
Fred Beans Ford of Boyertown is located on Route 100, just 2 miles north of Boyertown. Fred Beans Ford provides automotive sales, service, parts, and body shop all in one place. They're open 6 days a week. Fred Beans Ford in Boyertown can be reached at 800-222-0243, 800-222-0243, or online at fredbeans.com.
Doc's Irish Pub, the hottest new sports bar around. From live entertainment to countless draft beers, from awesome burgers to the new outside tiki bar. Numerous TVs and Doc's friendly service. Doc's Irish Pub is the place to be. Stop by Doc's today for a leisurely lunch, a quick cold beer, or a delicious bite to eat on a fall night. Doc's Irish Pub.
Welcome to the office of John H. Griesemer Jr., where we believe in the value of relationships. We take pride in giving you the assistance you need, whether that's income tax, payroll, or financial statement preparation. Located in Boyertown, we are committed to meeting the needs of the people in our community, and our team of skilled financial professionals look forward to working with you. John H. Griesemer Jr. Call us today or visit our website now.
Hey, we're having a lot of fun on the set tonight here of the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback. Rick Pennypacker, Scott Reed, and myself. We got a couple of guys waiting in the wings to get on there, which we're chomping at the bit to get to as well. But let's look at the Liberty Division real quickly. Norristown and Boyertown hooked up, and Rick, you and I talked last week. There's sort of a toss-up game. Both these teams have an opportunity to win this game. You know, they struggled off and on all year long. Boyertown especially, and again, that was a team that you and I thought with Matthias and Moshe and those guys that they were going to make some noise this year, but they come across some injuries and some problems, and they struggled, and Norristown was able to knock them off and move to 3-6 and 2-3 in the league with a big 12-6 win.
Yeah, and you know, you and I thought that Boyertown was going to be one of the teams that was going to challenge Perk Valley this year, and I don't know exactly what happened over there, but I think that, you know, you got to give TJ credit to hold everything together. I have a lot of respect for him, and I think he's a young coach and everything going into this year. I know he had some very high expectations, but his defense didn't show up. But again, Norristown ran the football the other day. They rushed the ball probably for more yards against Boyertown than they have all year. And you know, it was a competitive game. A lot of speed out there from Norristown, and but Boyertown hung in there with them. But they just didn't have it at the end.
5 fumbles.
Yeah,
You're never going to win with 5. You know, and Rick,
5
you know,
fumbles.
I know when you coached, and I used to come watch you guys practice. I enjoyed doing that. And how did you address that issue? Is that simply desire? Is that, I mean, you know, tell me a little bit about. I mean, well, no, seriously, for people out there watching, you know, how do you make sure the kids do not fumble the football?
Well, I think a lot of it is the way my running back coaches coach it. You know, you coach a certain way. They go through drills and everything. You know, holding the ball up high and tight and hold it in there. But you know, kids, we've had fumbles. I mean, Russell Faison fumbled a couple times, and we don't address it because once it gets in their head, you know, it really they start thinking about it. So, but you know, yeah, fumbles are just boy. You know, they will kill you. They will kill you. And if you win the turnover battle, and you usually are going to win a game.
You know, you and I talked earlier about the Norristown sort of doing two-platoon quarterback with Denolfi and Watson. It looks like Daniel Watson won that job as he has been the quarterback the second half of the season, and he has settled down and become a decent quarterback and maybe someone to build on for the future for Coach Milligan.
Absolutely, but when I look at this game, this is Coach Pennypacker's type of game. 106 plays of rushing football. That game had to be about an hour and a half long. So if you were to ask
kept
me,
the bus running the whole time, right?
So if you were to ask me, how do you address the fumbles? Throw the ball. But absolutely, I think Watson's doing a nice job, and again, when you're handing the ball off that many times, and they had well over 250 yards of rushing offense, then your passing game has no choice but to be pretty good and efficient when you actually put the ball up in the air.
Well, we had talked about Christian Thomas. He is one of the leading receivers in the Pioneer Athletic Conference.
I like him.
He's a nice player. Now, O&J and Methacton, and again, that looked like on paper, O&J certainly would be a little bit of a favorite there. O&J was coming off a tough loss to Springford, but still they had a pretty solid season. They shut out Methacton 13-0. They sort of start off pretty good and then sort of didn't do too much. And again, credit Dave Lotier's gang is in the second half as they really shut down the Wildcats. But O&J moved to 6-3 overall, and a big win for the Cats as they continue to move on.
And, you know, again, running the football. I think O&J ran the football for almost 300 yards. I'm not quite sure. But they outrushed Methacton probably 5-1. So I think it's, again, if you can't stop the run, you're not going to play. You're not going to win a game, and I think that's what happened in Methacton. Also, I think O&J also turned the ball over a lot in this game, and if they wouldn't have turned the ball over, I think it wouldn't have been so close. But again, the Chamberlain kid is impressive. He's doing well. I saw he ran like the ball 13 or 14 times. I don't know if they're design runs or scrambles, but he did a nice job. And the running back over there.
Yeah, you like that Marcus Martin guy, yeah.
He's playing hurt against Springford, coming back this week, and probably not 100% against Methacton, but he had another nice game. And it's going to be interesting to see how far the Wildcats can go in the playoffs.
Well, we talked to Dave Lotier doing a nice job, an East Stroudsburg guy who was in his first year. And, last year at this time, we'd be talking about 63-0, 48-0, whatever. The mercy rule was going on. The clock was continuing to run. But give Lotier and his gang a lot of credit over there, as all these games have been competitive. And I think that's the first step for him to build this program, which he certainly had to do. They're not rebuilding or not reloading. He's building from the bottom up, Scott.
Yeah, and really all season long they've been doing it on the back of their defense. I think their defense is opportunistic. I think their defense has kept them in ball games a lot of the times, and defense always comes along faster than offense. And when you're trying to instill an offense, and I know it's intricate with their spread, and they're doing a lot of different concepts and stuff like that. That's going to take time. That's going to take a lot of experience. But looking back at this game, I mean, the biggest thing here for Methacton is they only had 76 yards of total offense. So you give credit to O&J where credit is due. I really do think O&J is as good as any of those other teams, even the Springfords and the Perk Valleys but they can't sustain it for 4 quarters because they just don't have enough numbers on the sidelines. Where Perk Valley and Springford have guys going one way, they have guys going 2. And if you look at O&J, and I think this is going to be tough for them as they move into the district playoffs, in the second half, as the game wears on, those two-way players start to slow down.
Well, one of your old guys, Zulli, the quarterback, who really had a great career at PV and then at Shippensburg, he's involved with the offense over there, and I know we talked to him after the game, and they certainly want to try to do some more things with their offense. But right now, they're trying to solidify, become basic, and then move on with that.
I can absolutely see what's going on there a little bit, because I was kind of the same way. You're young, you're out of college, you have all these ideas of what you can do, and I know I could take advantage of this and I could take advantage of that. But then again, I'm also coaching 15 to 18-year-olds, and their ability to conceptualize all these things that you have in your mind isn't at your level. I always say you're always as smart as your least skilled kid. Because you have to simplify things so that everybody on that team, because can execute your playbook, because you're going to get different kids every year.
I think, of course, the big game of the year, which is a game we were at, the PCTV Network was there. Scotty Furman and I had a great opportunity to be a part of a game that was just electric from jump, and everybody was excited. One of those games that I'm an old man now, and I haven't played for a long time. I haven't coached for a few years. Wanted to make sure that you got into that kind of game. That would be a game to have fun, to be another coach and to get involved in it. 27-20, PV comes back. They're down 20-3. And scores at 24 straight unanswered points. And I'll tell you, Rick, it was an electric game. The kids, the student body, the bands, everybody. It was certainly a great atmosphere for high school football.
I was at the beach, and I came home, and my wife and I drove by Springford Stadium, which you couldn't get close to that, so I wasn't going to stop in and watch it. And I went home, and I sat on my deck, and I could hear the bands from all the way 3 miles away, 2 or 3 miles away. And then I called my son up and I said, "How's the game going?" I said, "Dad, this game's over. PV's getting crushed. It's 20-3 going into the fourth quarter." And then I watched on Twitter, and then PV's coming back. Now, hats off to Rob Heist and his staff, to keep those kids engaged, keep them playing all the way up into the fourth quarter. And I know how Coach Brubaker feels, and I know how the people of Springford feels. That was a big hype game. That game was, I think there was so much hype in that game. It was almost like a college game. Someone said there was close to 10,000 people there. And when you go from real high and then all of a sudden you lose it the way they lose it, it's devastating. And I know there's been a lot of talk down there. I know there's been people, criticizing the coaches and the players of Springford. Rather than criticizing them, your hats should go off to PV. There should be nothing embarrassing for Springford coaches and kids. They played their hearts out. You just got to take your hats off to PV and say, "Hey, you guys did a great job in the fourth quarter. You deserve to win." But it was those type of games really take it out of you. They really do take it out of you.
Well, I remember playing in high school a few times where we played the Coatesvilles or whatever, and we're so excited and amped up for the game that by the end of the first quarter, you're so tired, you felt like you played 4 quarters already. You go in there, you get your second wind, and then everything starts to settle down and come back again. But that's the way it appeared to me, particularly on the Springford side. They were so jacked up. They're up there chest bumping and running around and into the stands and stuff, and then all of a sudden the air sort of got let out of their balloons a little bit, Scotty, and they looked a little fatigued, and PV gets his second wind, and boom, there's the game.
It's amazing with young people because it's the video game generation.
Right.
They're high and low, and they can go any which way. I broke this game down into thirds. I saw the first quarter and a half dominated by Perk Valley. And then the second quarter, all the way to 30 seconds left in the third quarter, dominated by Springford. And then the fourth quarter's dominated again by Perk Valley because of the ups and downs and the momentum swings. I mean, it's unbelievable. I'll tell you what I was most impressed by when I went and looked at that box score is between both teams there were 35 first downs. That means both offenses were moving the ball, but they could never get the big play. Both of these teams, all the way through the season, they prey on people with the big play. Both of them had to earn their way down the field the whole way through.
Well, again, we've seen a couple of stars being born, if you will, to take that line. Ryan Engrove for Springford. You see the skill and talent he has as a dual threat quarterback, throwing the ball and then also running. Cole Peterson, who obviously you can see the skill in him, even though he was not 100%. But then all of a sudden you see this young buck come up there, this 9th grader, who, I don't even know what he's thinking at this point. Obviously, he was ready for this ball game, Rick, because in the fourth quarter, he was as cool, as calm as you could be.
My son said to me on the phone, "Dad, there's a freshman playing quarterback against Springford's defense. There's no way he'll be able to get any yards against them." And when I watched it on PCTV that night, this kid looked like a seasoned veteran. He was throwing the ball all over the place, dominated, made some great plays, and there was some cat and mouse games going on there. I watch a game. I always watch as the opposing coach trying to figure out what they're trying to do. And Coach Heist and Coach Brubaker, they were battling each other, and I thought it was just a great game. And it's one of those games you wish you would have been there to watch it. I saw it on TV. It's one of those games that I'll always remember, and I think everyone in Springford and PV will remember. But that rivalry is as a great a rivalry as it is.
And, and Jacob Sturm, all of a sudden, now he's really starting to play good and show everybody how good he can play. His brother obviously was the record-setting quarterback. This kid is totally different. He's like a little fullbacky bully kind of a guy. And in that second half, he made some runs where he literally ran over people from Springford. He did not want to be denied. And Jacob Sturm and Johnny Moshe really were a big part of helping that young quarterback, Kohler, to sort of settle in there and allow him to do his thing.
Yeah, it's almost like they rallied the troops, because what I saw as that game progressed was the Perk Valley offensive line started to play much better, and then all of a sudden Johnny Moshe and Steven Sturm, Jacob Sturm, start taking over the game, and you could tell they were running. They were actually running in an effort to punish whoever was going to try to tackle them. And I think, and I was going to say what Coach Pennypacker said, it was fun to see the punch, the counter punches, all right, they're doing this, we're going to start doing this. And when something was working in the first quarter, second quarter, it wasn't working in the third quarter because maybe there was a tweak or an adjustment. And that's the biggest thing with these coaching staffs from top to bottom. You're talking about these coordinators and everything like that. They stayed calm. You can go off and start yelling and screaming and saying you guys aren't. Kids are always giving their greatest effort. I mean, to say that they're not, they are. But to be able to give them a coaching point and say, hey, we got to do this better. This is what we talked about. It's tough to take it from the practice field to the game field.
And again, another spot of that PV team that gets overlooked, the no-name defense. They came up huge in that second half, particularly in the fourth quarter. They just came up with plays, guys that you didn't know. If this David Stewart all of a sudden shows up, Malik Smith shows up, all these guys, big old Quadri shows up, and next thing you know is they're making plays. 3 sacks, an interception, and a fumble recovery against a very, very talented Springford offense. All right, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we're going to look at the crossover games real quickly before we get a chance to talk to our 2 special guests. So sit back and relax and enjoy some more Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback.
Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this. Doc's Irish Pub, the hottest new sports bar around. From live entertainment to countless draft beers, from awesome burgers to the new outside tiki bar. Numerous TVs and Doc's friendly service. Doc's Irish Pub is the place to be. Stop by Doc's today for a leisurely lunch, a quick cold beer, or a delicious bite to eat on a fall night. Doc's Irish Pub. The newly remodeled and renovated Creekside Sports Bar and Grill sits on the Landis Creek Golf Course. Featuring live entertainment and weekly specials, the Creekside offers something for everyone. Discounted beer and wing prices during all Eagles games brings a being at the game feeling. With tailgating, big screen TVs, and wearing your team colors, you can bring the fall spirit to Creekside. So stop by the Creekside Sports Bar and Grill and see all the fun things it has to offer.
Fred Beans Ford of Boyertown is located on Route 100, just 2 miles north of Boyertown. Fred Beans Ford provides automotive sales, service, parts, and body shop all in one place. They're open 6 days a week. Fred Beans Ford in Boyertown can be reached at 800-222-0243, 800-222-0243, or online at fredbeans.com.
Back in 1949, Claude A. Reinhardt founded his family business, which has served the Pottstown and Tri-County area for over 50 years, specializing in residential and commercial interior and exterior painting, paper hanging, and brick restoration. Thanks to the commitment of tradition and values, Claude A. Reinhardt Painters has once again received this year's Reader's Choice Award. So if you're thinking about having an estimate or just need some good advice, give Ron or Keith Reinhardt a call and put your painting and decorating needs in our hands.
Welcome to the office of John H. Griesemer Jr., where we believe in the value of relationships. We take pride in giving you the assistance you need, whether that's income tax, payroll, or financial statement preparation. Located in Boyertown, we are committed to meeting the needs of the people in our community, and our team of skilled financial professionals look forward to working with you.
At Vlahos Dunn Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. Vlahos Dunn Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of Vlahos Dunn Insurance, and we're in your community.
Week 10 is the crossover week where we're looking at the larger schools, which are Liberty Division, playing the smaller schools, population-wise is what we mean. In this Week 10, it's a really kind of a unique kind of a thing, and we like it, and it's interesting. Let's go. We're going 6 against 6. Scotty, you take that one right off the bat. Boyertown goes to Upper Perk, and unfortunately, this is a repeat game. This is an old Thanksgiving Day game they played in the beginning of the season. And Boyertown was able to win that ball game. But again, we got another shot at it. Boyertown, Upper Perk.
Yeah, this is the only thing. I don't like when Frontier and Liberty Division schedule each other during the season because I like it to be Week 10. But hey, you got Tyrese Reed back. You're coming off a win if you're Upper Perk. Boyertown is basically coming, is coming off a tough loss against Norristown, but again, playing against a team that they beat earlier in the season, so it should be a fantastic rematch.
Well, again, if Boyertown can't get fired up for this one, they never can. And I sort of relate that to like the interleague play almost in baseball anymore. I never liked when the Phillies would play American League teams. I wanted to play them in the World Series, but now that they do that, I guess it's part of what they do. All right, Richard, Methacton goes to Phoenixville. Dave Lotier in his first year going up against another first-year guy in Don Grinstead.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I think that, Methacton is going to try to get down there, maybe get their offense started up, and, but Phoenixville, again, under Don Grinsted's trying to get that running game. They're going to pound the football at Methacton, and Methacton's playing good defense, so I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think anyone who gets the 14 points first may win that game.
Well, because you like Washington and you like Pinella a little bit down there.
Pinella, Washington, Pantani, I like those guys. I know that they had a hard time against Pottsgrove, so I know they're probably licking their chops.
Well, here's an interesting game for you, Scott, and this is sort of an old school throwback game. Norristown comes up here to Grigg Memorial to take on the Trojans. Two teams that are sort of mirror images of one another. I don't know what Wiggins' status is. Hopefully he'll be back in time for this game, but this is an interesting game, Pottstown and Norristown.
I love this matchup. I think it's great for in Western Montgomery County. These are two of the biggest towns that we have, and they're finally locking horns on the gridiron. We haven't seen this ever, at least in my lifetime. I have not seen this game in a long, long, long time. So they are, like you said, almost mirror images of each other. It's just Norristown has a bigger school population, but this will be interesting how this unfolds, especially here at Grigg Memorial on a Friday night.
O&J and Upper Marion, another repeat game. O&J got the upper hand of them at O&J earlier in the season. Now they have to travel down to King of Prussia to take on the really vastly improved Upper Marion squad led by second-year coach Vic Brown.
Yeah, Coach Coke, I saw that game, Upper Marion and O&J. I think O&J won 20-0. I think they scored all their points in the first quarter. The second, third, fourth quarter, Upper Marion shut them out. Coach Kolka, and I'm sure his staff know this, that this is not the same Upper Marion team they saw earlier in the year. This is a different Upper Marion team. They better be ready because Upper Marion is playing good football right now.
Okay, and Springford as a repeat matchup from last year against Pope John Paul. Springford was all over Pope John Paul last year. They beat them 51-13 as Coach Brubaker had his guys ready to play. This year, I don't know. It could be a different story, Scott.
Well, there's a couple things that are going to happen for Coach Graver. The one thing is he's going to have to figure out his rushing game. They had 7 total yards of rushing last week, and you are not going to go toe-for-toe with a team like Springford if you're not being able to shorten that game a little bit with the rushing offense. So I think Kamal Gray, you're going to see Gray, and you're going to see Engro, two of the best quarterbacks respectively in both of their divisions, But again, I think Pope John Paul is going to have to really try to figure out a way to shorten this game a little bit, because I think Springford's going to be coming overloaded for Bear.
And a Saturday afternoon game. I know Coach Brubaker is not happy because the following week is playoffs, and he's not happy about having to play that extra day.
And I don't like playing Saturday afternoon games either. I'm right with Coach Brubaker. So, last time I went down to PJP and played them on Saturday afternoon, they upset us, and that was one of the worst losses we've ever had. Also, I've looked at the weather forecast, rain this weekend, so that could have a bearing on what's going on. I hate to see Springford and PJP had to play on a Monday because of monsoon coming in.
Yeah,
So
well, that should be interesting. Stay tuned for that one. And, of course, the big game everybody's waiting on is the championship game. We got the two number ones. Pottsgrove 9-0. Perk Valley is 7-2, 7 straight wins after 2 tough losses to the Downingtowns. That is the game we will be featuring here on the PCTV network, so stay tuned for that one. Get yourself over there to Coach Pennypacker Field on Friday night, and then go home and watch the replay here on PCTV. Scott, we're going to let you go first on this one. Break her down, PV and Pottsgrove.
It's the same thing every year. It's just 2 different types of styles, in my opinion. One style is control the football, play great. Well, they both play really good defense. That's never been any different. But it's exactly what I kind of said about Pope John Paul. Pottsgrove's able to establish that running game. They're able to control the football. They're able to get first downs. And I think that if you can play great defense and you can run the football, you can keep yourself in any game, because your best defense is that ball control offense. The big key is Pottsgrove's going to have to finish drives. And I think in the biggest games, that's the hardest thing to do, whether it's district playoffs, whether it's a big game. It's finishing off those drives for points. And it sounds like Pottsgrove does have a field goal kicker, and that could be a big difference in this game.
Absolutely. Michael Sereni, we talked about him. Coach, this is your first year not in this ball game. I know last year it didn't work out so well as PV played a crazy game against you guys and knocked you off. It was certainly not a Spalding guy to book a game, but it was a crazy game that PV ended up winning. What's your feelings about this year?
Well, my whole thing is there's two thoughts I have about this game. Number one, I watched Perk Valley early in the year against Downingtown West, and they had a lot of 2 platoon kids. They were going. I don't know. They maybe played 1 or 2 kids both ways. Pottsgrove plays a lot of kids both ways, so I think that depth issue is going to come into play. I don't know if Pottsgrove has seen a hurry-up offense like PV has right now. He used to scare the living daylights out of me when we play them, because we had to get our signals in quickly. We had to get everyone lined up, and then they, Heisty and Scotty do all this shifting and motioning and everything, and then you got to count for this guy, that guy, and they screen the game. It's so much you have to worry about when you play this team. So then you got to think about, do I just want to play base defense and just try to settle in? Pottsgrove's defense can match up man to man with them. I think they have some good skilled kids on the outside, PV, but I think Pottsgrove secondary can match them up.
Springfield and those guys can run.
Springfield, those guys, a little sophomore back there.
My little boy Riley Howard, my man back there.
And, but the thing I think it's going to come right down to the point is the trenches. Who wins the battle of the trenches? Who wins up front? Pottsgrove's offensive line is a little shaky. Early in the year, they're getting better as they go, but that front line, defensive line, Bedolis, Adams, those guys up there, linebacker Owens, and you got Glover coming off the edge. The other thing that's really, the second thing I'm thinking about here, both these coaches are here, and I know they're both over here probably thinking about this too, is Peterlin playing? Now, he's hurt. And then Taylor didn't play. So the 2 big offensive players in both teams didn't finish the game. But Taylor didn't play at all against Phoenixville. And Peterlin didn't play. So now as a coach, you're sitting there saying, is he playing this week? Do I have to prepare for him, or do I not prepare for him? Who am I preparing for? Am I preparing for the freshman quarterback? So that kind of stuff, and all those little games you play all week.
It's a chess match there.
You're not kidding.
Beautiful, man.
And it would keep me up all night. when I had to play teams like PV, I never slept. I was just thinking, oh my gosh, do I have this covered? Do we have that covered? And I know that's probably what Billy's going through right now too. So.
Well, we're going to find out in a few minutes, as we have a couple special guests here that I'm going to introduce as soon as we say goodbye to you guys. But again, I want to thank you guys for coming on. It was great to break everything down with you. And again, we talked about the district playoff teams real quick. Our district update in the 6A, PV is number 6. Springford is 9 and ONJ 13 currently as we stand today. In the 5A, Upper Marion is number 8 and Phoenixville is number 16. In the 4A, Pottsgrove and Pottstown are 1 and 2. And in the 3A, Pope John Paul is the number 1 team. So there are 8 teams from the Pioneer Athletic Conference, which has 12 teams. That's a pretty good number that at this point qualify for district play. All right, guys, well, we'll see you next week. Hopefully, after we break down all these games, we'll get ready for district play next week. But again, I'm going to thank you for stopping in. We're going to take a quick time out. And we got those 2 guys that are going to go head-to-head on Friday night. We're going to see if we can get some information out of these guys, some inside. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this. Doc's Irish Pub, the hottest new sports bar around. From live entertainment to countless draft beers, from awesome burgers to the new outside tiki bar. Numerous TVs and Doc's friendly service. Doc's Irish Pub is the place to be. Stop by Doc's today for a leisurely lunch, a quick cold beer, or a delicious bite to eat on a fall night. Doc's Irish Pub. The newly remodeled and renovated Creekside Sports Bar and Grill sits on the Landis Creek Golf Course. Featuring live entertainment and weekly specials, the Creekside offers something for everyone. Discounted beer and wing prices during all Eagles games brings a being at the game feeling. With tailgating, big screen TVs, and wearing your team colors, you can bring the fall spirit to Creekside. So stop by the Creekside Sports Bar and Grill and see all the fun things it has to offer.
Fred Beans Ford of Boyertown is located on Route 100, just 2 miles north of Boyertown. Fred Beans Ford provides automotive sales, service, parts, and body shop all in one place. They're open 6 days a week. Fred Beans Ford in Boyertown can be reached at 800-222-0243, 800-222-0243, or online at fredbeans.com.
Back in 1949, Claude A. Reinhardt founded his family business, which has served the Pottstown and Tri-County area for over 50 years, specializing in residential and commercial interior and exterior painting, paper hanging, and brick restoration. Thanks to the commitment of tradition and values, Claude A. Reinhardt Painters has once again received this year's Reader's Choice Award. So if you're thinking about having an estimate or just need some good advice, give Ron or Keith Reinhardt a call and put your painting and decorating needs in our hands.
Welcome to the office of John H. Griesmer Jr., where we believe in the value of relationships. We take pride in giving you the assistance you need, whether that's income tax, payroll, or financial statement preparation. Located in Boyertown, we are committed to meeting the needs of the people in our community, and our team of skilled financial professionals look forward to working with you.
At Vlahos Dunn Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. Vlahos Dunn Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of Vlahos Dunn Insurance, and we're in your community.
Hey, I want to thank my good friend Mikey Crater over there at Mike's Brick Oven Pizza. Make sure you stop over there. He always sends over a great spread for me and the guests and also the crew here. I want to thank Mike again, and he does a heck of a job. And just get over there. He wins all those awards, Strombolis, pizzas, whatever you want. He does a great job. All right, well, we got the two combatants that are all lined up for Friday night. It's at Coach Pennypacker Field at Pottsgrove High School. The Frontier Division will be hosting all the crossover games. We got the number 1 seed in the Frontier, Pottsgrove, hosting the number 1 seed in the Liberty Division, Perk Valley. That will be our game of the week here on the PCTV network. And guys, congratulations on great seasons. We're all looking forward to this. I know you have to take each week at a time, but this is certainly a time that we look forward to. Again, Bill, in your first year, congratulations. Of course, Rob, now in year 3, you're sort of like an old man and a veteran in this league. You know, you look down and say, man, these guys only got 1 or 2 years. I'm an old man. I've got my 3rd year in already. But, Bill, let's start with you, buddy. First of all, congratulations. I know you were a long-time assistant to Rick. I know you really respected him. He coached you when you were at Pottsgrove. And, you know, you picked up some things from your high school coach, a little bit from your college coach, your days at Gettysburg? Dickinson.
Rivals, but.
Yeah. I knew it was one of those good little smart schools that you went to. But so you pick up all that stuff, and now you got your own program, and things have been going very, very well.
Yeah, it was a very nice year. I mean, Coach Pennypacker's influence on me and on the program still, you know, is very eminent. And as long as I'm there, it will be. But yeah, it was a very enjoyable year. I think we alluded to it before. All the assistants coming back, the continuity. I can't thank those guys enough. They're integral in all our program success, and they're just fantastic guys on top.
Well, I talked to my buddy Gary Lorenzo, who was the athletic director. Now, I'm not even sure what his position is now. He's some sort of big shot administrator over there who oversees the AD and stuff. But he said it was a no-brainer. It was an easy transition. You certainly were the guy for the job, and that's a heck of a compliment to you as well.
Yeah, from Gary Lorenzo, that means the world. I mean, talk about a class individual who knows sports and is involved in the youth in all the Pottstown area. That means a lot coming from him. He's still you see him all over the place at Pottsgrove. His job description we're still trying to figure that one out.
Yeah, really. I like to follow him to payday, though, on Fridays, though,
right.
And check him out a little bit. And Robbie, you know, you certainly, Scott Reed, Scotty Furman and Scott Reed really did a heck of a job. You're, again, a product of PV, so it's kind of neat that, you know, we have a Pottsgrove guy and a PV guy going up against each other this year. And in your 3rd year, you know, you certainly have created your own niche and your own deal over there. And congratulations on another great year, and you're back where you wanted to be.
Thank you. Yeah, it's exciting. I'm looking forward to a great game this week for sure.
Well, you know, it was a little tough talking to you Friday night. It was a very emotional night. You got your Gatorade bath. You had all this stuff going on, and you're saying, I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. I'm really emotional. It was a heck of a game. You had kids that stepped up and did some things that maybe you didn't even know. And I know I heard you say to one of the reporters, you said, you know, I had 20-3. I really didn't know if I had a real good feeling about this game, but ultimately it all worked out for you.
Yeah, I mean, I all weekend.
Has it sunk in yet?
Honestly, all weekend, I woke up Saturday morning and I felt it was kind of a dream. You know, the way that our kids responded to some adversity in that game, you know, losing our first team all-area quarterback in the first quarter, turning the ball over on our own end 3 times and putting our defense in a really difficult position. Just nothing was going our way, you know, and then we started chipping away and a play here, play there. Next thing you know, we're down 2 scores, another play. All right, we can do this. You know, we're 1 touchdown down, and the thing just started building for us with momentum, and there we were at the end. It was awesome. Well,
you know, Billy, you've had a little bit of an easier road to the finals. You really haven't had that close Frontier Division game. You had a couple of games that you probably thought, well, I wish we would have played a little better, but all the games you had 4 shutouts on the season. But you know that you're going to be in for a big game this Friday night, obviously. Tell us a little bit about your approach as you head into the game Friday night.
We understand the challenge ahead of us. I mean, Coach Heiss and his whole staff have a juggernaut over there now. And, you know, you always want to play the best, and when you win 3 of the 4 last championships, that would make PV the best. But we're just approaching it like any other week. We know what we have to do on a daily basis, and we're doing our best to achieve our goals.
Well, Robbie, you went with a really difficult non-league schedule, and I know that your philosophy and your feeling is you want to play the best. In order to be the best, you got to beat those guys. You got to play the Downingtowns and the Coatesvilles. And how did you feel this year? Even though you lost the first couple of games to Downingtown in games that you guys played pretty well, but they're pretty solid teams. Is that paying off for you think, here now as you won 7 in a row?
Yes and no. This year in particular, we seemed to get a little bit beat up more than last year when we played a similar schedule, just from an injury perspective. We lost arguably our best lineman to a knee injury. We lost our Sam linebacker early on. We lost him for 4 weeks and just got him back a couple weeks ago. So, the competition is outstanding. It doesn't get any better in District 1 than the Downingtowns. And we were in every one of those games. In particular, the Downingtown West game, they just beat Downingtown East a couple weeks back. So, I'm a believer in iron sharpens iron. And I'd rather that and really get a true idea of where we are as a team in any particular season than the opposite philosophy.
Well, I know you have a tough deal over there because nobody wants to play you because you're a 4A team, Bill, and most of the bigger schools that maybe you want to get a little competition from, they don't want to drop down and play a 4A team, particularly one who's very good, who has an opportunity to knock them off. You played West Catholic, who came out of Philly, and they were ballyhooed, and it was a heck of a ball game, and you guys persevered, and you won that game. Do you think that really was a big springboard game for you, Bill? The kids figured out, you know what, we can win a lot of games.
Yeah, I think that, that obviously gave us some momentum, but it kind of showed how important our defense was to us. It kept us in the game. It kept us into the end, which allowed us to win in the end. But 100%, it was a confidence builder for everyone. We had to replace 15, if including the kicker and punter, 24 spots. So,
And Rachel Faison was.
Yeah, he was kind of good. So we were kind of young. We had a lot of fresh new faces. Obviously, me being a first-year coach, but that game really gave us a lot of confidence to go on fourth in our schedule.
Well, you guys have been, both of you have been really a fun group to watch, and certainly coaches that I really like and enjoy watching on the sidelines and figuring out where things are going. Last year, Rob, it was sort of a crazy game, You win that game 43-26. You only have the ball a few plays. Pottsgrove has the ball 100 plays. You have it for 23.
Yeah.
You got 4 plays. You got an 88-yard kickoff return, a 92-yard pick six, a 55 scoop and score, and then Jackson runs 93 yards. Those kind of things were really prevalent in that game last year.
Yeah, it was an odd game for sure, and I think it's representative of the style of football that we play. I think Rasul had 220 yards on 45 carries.
Right.
That kid earned his money that night. So they just tried to grind on us, which they do, and we wound up making a play here or there that wound up being the difference, and we're very fortunate in that game.
Well, obviously, you weren't the head coach at that point. You were just an assistant, but you were right there on the sideline. You were certainly Rick's right-hand man, and you got to see that firsthand, and it certainly was a crazy, crazy ball game, and all these bounces were going different ways, and I guess you're going to try to find a way to not let that happen again this year.
Yeah, I think it just shows that you cannot make any mistakes against a good team like Perk Valley, whether it's turnovers, penalties, any kind of miscue. If you do that against a team like Perk Valley with a coaching staff like Perk Valley, you're going to lose a football game. And as good as we were, we made those mistakes that night, and PV was a better team that night.
Well, again, you guys it's a little bit unusual, but you guys scrimmage each other in the beginning of the year. I think it was the first scrimmage, the first time you saw opposite faces, and your team is totally, completely different from that time. But did you learn anything from that first game playing a PV, Bill? That was your real first game as a scrimmage and everything else?
Yeah, I just learned what I already knew, that PV is a darn good football team, and we have some tough kids that are going to come out and play football for us. I think when you get 2 good football teams like that together to open up a season, you can see both teams really figured out who they are, figured out what kind of football player they are, because they know that they have to be the best football player they are on that scrimmage day.
Yeah. And Rob, obviously, you had to see some things. Again, maybe some of your team, that's sort of a neat day where you can sort of pick and choose where you're playing, and you got your personnel groupings and all that kind of stuff. Did you learn anything from that first game with
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Similarly to what Bill just said, no disrespect to anybody else in the Frontier, but I remember having a conversation with our staff after that scrimmage and saying, well, Pottsgrove will win the Frontier again.
Mm-hmm.
They're just physical, hard-nosed kids. They fly to the football. They do what they do offensively, and they do it well. Here they are at 9-0.
Well, Bill, you said it more than once, and said it to me, said it in the newspaper, whatever. Your heart and soul, your team is your offensive and defensive lines. Rick Pennypacker talks about it. You got Bedolich, you got Seaman, you got Adams, you got Tornetti, you got all these guys, and as they go, you guys certainly have gone. So obviously, 9 straight wins. That's your gig.
Yeah, they're like I said, our heart and soul of our team. These kids they're great football players. They're great people. I mean, collectively they're all straight A students. I mean, so you're very lucky to have that kind of group of kids together, and they do not give up one bit. They will fight to the end, just as the PV kids will, and they are definitely our most valuable aspect of our unit.
Well, it's going to be like an Ivy League game. You got 2 AP teachers here with AP kids going up against each other. So it's going to be like Yale and Harvard going up against Friday night. And that's for all you youngsters out there. And again, we had Rasul Faison on a couple of weeks ago, and he had some difficulty with his grades, had to go to prep, and now he's got a 3.7 average. He really has buckled down, and he really figured it all out. And that's a great thing and a testament. But, you guys always come up with some good stuff, and I'm sure you're going to be ready to rock and roll on Friday night, Rob.
I can't wait. I mean, like Scott Reed said earlier, I love these crossover games, and I feel like this year in particular there's been a lot more parity across our league. And if you look down 1-1, 2-2, all the way down, I don't see a football game on Friday night or Saturday that's not going to be competitive on paper. So I'm excited to play in this game again. We're very fortunate to be in the position that we're in, and I expect to be a great game.
All right, well, let's get down to brass tacks. How's are you allowed to say Isaiah Taylor? Is he on the mend? Is he going to be okay? I know you don't want to give up too much, and I'm not going to ask you a lot, but how's the status of Isaiah Taylor?
Yeah, we're going to keep his status.
Okay. Okay.
An internal team matter.
Okay. All right. And I guess the same for Cole Peterlin.
Yeah, I mean, I said it on the big ticket on Friday night. Cole's our quarterback. There's no question about that. If he's healthy, he'll play. We're waiting to see how he progresses through concussion protocol this week, and we'll find out toward the end of the week here.
Okay, well, you got a little quarterback that you like. I know that. The Cisco kid, as I call him. As I said, he's that little general out there on the field for you, makes his decisions. We were talking about the RPOs and all the different things he has to do. Obviously, you like your guy.
He's a dream quarterback to have as a first-year coach. He's the quintessential Pottsgrove quarterback. He can run. He does all the thinking at the line. He can audible when need be. He makes a timely pass, and he's just a fantastic leader. He's schooled in the classroom, on the football field. He's just a fantastic young man.
Well, I talked a little bit about Moshe and Sturm. I mean, those two guys, I like Johnny Moshe last year, and I know he got injured in the middle of the season, had a shoulder or collarbone or whatever. And then Sturm, who I didn't know much about coming into this year, but in the second half of the season, those two guys have really opened up some eyes and really helping you with your ground game.
Yeah, we've been running the ball pretty well the last couple weeks, and it's a testament to our offensive line coach. But Jacob and John are great players for us. I love the way they're running the ball with a chip on their shoulder right now. I think you mentioned it earlier. They were finishing runs on Friday night. And, after a while, that'll weigh on a defense, when you run the ball like that, and Billy knows that better than most. And I was excited to see that out of us on Friday night.
Obviously, Ryan Bedolis is a guy that certainly comes with a lot of credentials. Player of the Year candidate, was last year as well in the Frontier Division. He's certainly one of your leaders on defense. So I'm sure he's going to try to anchor you down for what you do on Friday night.
Oh, he's a phenomenal leader, phenomenal football player. he gets all the accolades on defense, but he's a heck of a tight end. You know, we don't throw the ball a lot, but you watch that kid block, you'll understand what I mean. He gives it all the whole game to the last whistle. I mean, he literally gets penalties because he goes to the whistle. And, you know, refs will throw a flag, and he's just doing what he's coached to do.
I guess obviously this week in school is going to be fun too. You know, you have two schools, 2 of the 3 schools, Springford being another one that I think really gets jacked up and cranked up, and you always have good student participation and showing up. I'm sure PV will be all fired up this week in school.
Yeah, I mean, our student section is incredible. I looked up at our student section on Friday night, that Springford game, and you know, it's just surreal. I said to my kids before the game, I'm like, I hope you guys breathe this in for a second here before we kick off, because, you know, there's not a whole lot of kids who play this sport who get to play in games like that and have the support that we have. Our community, our students have just been amazing. I'm so thankful for them.
Well, I know, and I hate to be a throwback kind of guy, but when I played at Pottstown in the mid-'70s, that's the way every one of our games were, and the whole student section would come out and create this little maze that we'd have to run through, and pep rallies all week, and they decorate our lockers and all that, and it takes me back to my time, you know, now that I'm getting older and I haven't been able to do the things, obviously, that I once did, but it's great. It's great to see that, your gang down there tailgating and stuff, and I know, Bill, your school has a lot of spirit over there as well, and you know, we have the cheerleaders on our show, and they are just the cutest things, and they are a lot of fun, and I'm sure they'll be fired up for Friday night as well.
Sure. I mean, our football program means a lot to our school, but when you have a football program that does the things the right way, the school will get behind you, the community will get behind you, and that's why we love serving our community as well. We like to do a lot of community service and hopefully put a good product on the field on Friday nights.
Well, I'll tell you what, gang, get yourself out to Coach Pennypacker Field early on Friday night. Get yourself a nice seat. We got 2 of the best young coaches around this whole area, not just the Pioneer Athletic Conference, but in this whole area of Pennsylvania. It's going to be a great one. Undefeated Pottsgrove trying to upset the 2-time defending champion Perk Valley Vikings. It should be a good one, and the PCTV network will be there. I want to wish all you guys the best of luck. I hope you have great weather and great conditions, and we'll be there watching, and best of luck to Bill Hawthorne and to Rob Heiss.
Thank you.
All right. All right, we come back. We're going to talk a little bit about Eagles. I got my son on the line here. He's all fired up. Got all kinds of things going to happen. But again, I want to thank Rob Heist and Bill Hawthorne for stopping by, getting us jacked up. Like, we don't need it, but help us getting jacked up for Friday night.
Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this.
Back in 1949, Claude A. Reinhardt founded his family business, which has served the Pottstown and Tri-County area for over 50 years, specializing in residential and commercial interior and exterior painting, paper hanging, and brick restoration. Thanks to the commitment of tradition and values, Claude A. Reinhardt Painters has once again received this year's Reader's Choice Award. So if you're thinking about having an estimate or just need some good advice, give Ron or Keith Reinhardt a call and put your painting and decorating needs in our hands.
Doc's Irish Pub, the hottest new sports bar around. From live entertainment to countless draft beers, from awesome burgers to the new outside tiki bar. Numerous TVs and Doc's friendly service. Doc's Irish Pub is the place to be. Stop by Doc's today for a leisurely lunch, a quick cold beer, or a delicious bite to eat on a fall night. Doc's Irish Pub.
Established in 1916 and granted membership into the Philadelphia Golf Association in 1920, Brookside Country Club is well known for its challenging layout and true fast greens. The William Gordon design provides a challenge for golfers of all abilities. Brookside Country Club offers traditional club amenities in a family-friendly atmosphere. Brookside Country Club, where elegance and excellence are par for the course.
At Vlahos Dunn Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. Vlahos Dunn Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of Vlahos Dunn Insurance, and we're in your community.
We're back here on the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show. Again, I'm Dave Ridenour. It's always great to talk to two really, really good guys and great young coaches, in Rob Heist and Bill Hawthorne. And again, we wish them all the luck from the Monday Morning Quarterback and also the PCTV network. Hey, don't forget, this Saturday night, we will be down at the Sunnybrook Ballroom. Gus and the gang will be down there filming it for us. But we have our 41st annual induction banquet ceremony, dinner, at the Sunnybrook Ballroom. That is Saturday, October the 27th at 5:30. We still have a couple of tickets available. They will not be available at the door, but if you want to give me a call, we'll save you a spot. We got 7 great people going in this year again, and I'm very, very proud of that fact. But there it is. That's Saturday night at the Sunnybrook Ballroom. All right, well, I got my son on there. The dynamic duo this week is father and son, Dad and my son Christopher. Christopher, are you there?
What's going on, Dad?
All right, buddy. Not a good day for us. I'll tell you, you know me. I'm not the fan that you are and stuff, and I don't get into it. But I think yesterday was maybe the maddest I have been in a long time watching our team, particularly in that second half.
Yeah, just inexcusable is the word. You know, it's the offense needs to be better, the defense needs to be better, coaching needs to be better. There's no one finger. Yeah, just inexcusable. You can't lose that game.
Well, you know, most times when you have a 17-point lead going into the fourth quarter, you think, you know, let's get a couple first downs, maybe even a field goal if we can. But it looked like they left off the throttle a little bit there, and then all of a sudden Cam Newton, who was really very, very pedestrian through 3 quarters, all of a sudden gets hot. McCaffrey gets hot. Smith gets hot. And next thing you know, Samuel gets hot, and boom, they got an L.
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly. The defense played off. They played off coverage all fourth quarter. They're all too busy dancing in the end zone and worrying about that. They're not worried about winning a ball game, and they got beat by a decent team that was capable of coming back, and they just took them too lightly, and that's what happens.
Well, you know, now you look at the NFC East, son, and the Redskins are on top at 4-2. The Eagles and the Cowboys are at 3-4, and the Giants appear to be out of the race at 1-5. But boy, I don't know. The Redskins got a nice club. I'm not all that crazy about Alex Smith, but they had a big win over the Cowboys over the weekend. How do you look at the NFC East at this point?
Well, if you take a look at Washington, we'll talk at the top. Definitely the most, I would say, consistent team in the division right now. Meaning, they don't have high highs and low lows. They're steady. They don't have anybody experienced in offense, but they can move the ball. They play good defense. They're usually sound. They don't make too many big mistakes. Unlike that, Dallas is still not there for me, even though their big acquisition today, Amari Cooper, is going to help open up their offense a little bit. But defensively, Cowboys are good. Offensively, they're still not there yet until I see something. And then you have our Eagles that, again, high highs and low lows. Again, there's no consistency outside the Redskins right now.
Well, you know what really upset me, Christopher, when I was thinking about it, is here's a day they're honoring B-Dawk, Brian Dawkins, probably who played with as big a heart as anybody the Eagles have ever had. Not that he was the greatest player for the Eagles, but he was right up there, and he's getting his ring and all this, and the way he used to play and leave it all out on the field. And unfortunately for them, you look at their defensive line, it was supposed to be so good. Brandon Graham had a tackle and assist. Michael Bennett, which is your boy, had a tackle and assist. And Fletcher Cox had 1 tackle. So there's their 3 big guys on the defensive line, and they combined for 3 tackles and 2 assists.
Yeah, like I said, there's not one finger to point. It's everyone in the defense. It's coaching. It's the defensive line's not getting the pressure. No one's stepping up and making a play. They miss Rodney McLeod way more than they wanted to let on or for people to realize. Nigel Bradham's not making the plays that he did last year. They just are not as good. They're just not playing at that level right now. I think it's obvious they have the Super Bowl hangover as of right now.
Well, you look at Carson Wentz, though, son. He completed 81%, and everybody, all these fantasy guys and all these analytics guys are going to say how great Carson Wentz played. Well, he did look pretty good for 3 quarters. What did he complete, like 13, 14, 15 in a row there in the middle of the game somewhere? But look what happened in crunch time. A couple of bad decisions, particularly inside the last 50 seconds. I mean, they were fortunate that Bradbury committed the pass interference. It was their best offensive play in the second half. They finally threw the ball down the field. They get that break, and then they can't convert. And I think Carson Wentz had something to do with it.
Absolutely, he does. I don't know if it's still Russ because obviously he's still putting up amazing numbers right now, but he's missing people. He's not quick enough through his reads. The last play of the game where he gets hit and the ball comes out, Alshon Jeffrey's wide open over the middle of the field, and that's where he wants to go. He doesn't anticipate that throw. If he anticipates that throw, that's in there, and we're moving sticks. Also, he had Wendell Smallwood in the flat the play before where doesn't get through his reads fast enough. He's still not quite there yet, surveying the football field as you would like. He's definitely proven before, though, that he's more than capable of winning in crunch time and winning when the game's on the line. It's just right now he's still either, I don't know if it's preseason mode or what, but he's just not quite seeing the field at the right times, all of it.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, Corey Clement doesn't look right. Something's off with him, buddy. Everyone, there was a reason why he was an undrafted free agent. I mean, he certainly is a quality guy. He's helped them last year a lot, and he had a big Super Bowl game. But I don't know if he's nicked up, if he's hurt or whatever, but he doesn't look the same.
No, there's got to be knick-knack injuries or something going on. The coaching staff always kind of, with the personnel anyway, has been mind-boggling to me. As you have a guy as Wendell Smallwood, who Corey beats out easily last year. Now he seems to be the feature guy with Ajayi out. That's the first one. They go and get the Dexter McDougal, bring him back instead of trying to find a place for Rasul Douglas, who doesn't. I have no idea what he did.
Yeah, he didn't get a play. Yeah, he didn't get a snap.
On the field.
Yeah.
Right. So, especially with Sidney Jones down, I mean, they're not playing well enough to get over these injuries, and they're still a little backed up.
All right. Well, each week, Christopher, we do have a game ball, and this week is certainly no different. My good friend down there and your old buddy, Paul Strauss, who used to cut your hair back in the day and give you those sweet little flat tops and all the spike jobs that you used to like to get. He's still up there on 943 North Hanover Street, and he's a good guy, and he's a big fan of the show, and he's been with us from the jump, and he's just a good guy. All right, son, I'm going to let you go first. Anybody that jumped off the page at you over the weekend?
Patrick Mahomes, quarterback of Kansas City. The guy's had arguably, the best start to a first year starting. Well, he's definitely had of anyone so far. He's got 23 touchdowns or 22 touchdowns, most through 7 games in NFL history from anyone. The guy's on fire. Andy Reid's really got them clicking at a high level.
All right. Well, I tell you, I got 2 guys. I got 2 defensive guys. You know me. I like those defensive guys. And, I was thinking about Aaron Donald from L.A., but I'm going to go with Luke Kuechly, man. I love that guy. I wish he were an Eagle. 14 total tackles. He had a sack. He's a leader. It looked like there was a couple screen passes that were ready to rock and roll, and all of a sudden Kuechly's there. He doesn't miss tackles. When he gets there, he makes the play. I'm going to go with Luke Kuechly, the middle linebacker for Carolina.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with him. Obviously, the Luke Ness monster is what they call him, and he's obviously the monster in the middle there. He was in coverage on that last play of the game to seal it for them. The guy always jumps off the film or out of the game. You always know he's there.
All right, and let's do our little 5-pack pick. I beat you the last time I was 4-1 and you were 3-2. We had all the same picks except for you went
Kansas. You just
Kansas.
rubbing that one in. You got 1 week on me, and now all of a
Well, you took Kansas City and I took New England. That was the difference. I'm trying to teach you, son. You know, you've always been pretty good at listening to your daddy. Now I'm telling you, I spanked you 4-1 to 3-2. All right, so now you got a chance here, okay? Here we go, buddy. Real quickly, our 5-pack picks are brought to you by Izzy's in Boyertown. Well, we always go with the Monday night game, even though I could care less about this game. The Giants are at the Falcons tonight. Obviously, who do you like?
I'm going to actually I'm going to do an upset New York Giants win. The Atlanta Falcons are the most injured team in the league right now. I'm pretty sure they're picking guys up off the street right outside of Mercedes-Benz Arena to get play for them right now. So I'm going to go with a little too much Saquon Barkley and Beckham tonight.
Okay, cool. Next game is a kind of interesting game. Cleveland at Pittsburgh. You know, normally in years past, this is sort of a duh. But now, the Brownies are doing okay. Baker Mayfield. Let's see what happens. Cleveland travels to Pittsburgh. Who do you like, son?
I still think it's a little bit of a duh. I mean, they obviously are. The Browns are a much better football team than in years past, but it's just too much Pittsburgh for them to handle.
All right, I'm going upset special. I'm going to go Brownies, even though Pittsburgh's coming off a bye week. They still have a little mess going on with Le'Veon Bell. I'll go against you there and go Brownies. All right, here's a pretty good game, I think. The Green Bay Packers are traveling out to L.A. to take on the undefeated Rams. Obviously, the Rams are the talk of the town. I love their coach. He is a great young coach. What do you think about the Packers and the Rams, buddy?
Well, you don't think the Rams are going to go undefeated, so there's got to be a trip game somewhere, right? So, I mean, if you look at their schedule, this is probably one of the ones you would target as, maybe their trip-up game. I'm going to go with number 12, Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers.
Well, you know what? I'm going to go with the same theory as you. I'm going to go. They need a downer somewhere along the line, and again, Green Bay I think had a week off, so maybe they're all back together. It's going to take a big defensive effort. I don't know if Clay Matthews and the boys are not, but I'm going to jump with you on that one. All right, of course, now we got the Eagles traveling all the way over to London, and who the heck knows what's going to happen at 9:30 our time in London. Eagles and the Jaguars.
The London games are always tough because of that. I mean, I'm always going to pick the Birds, so I'm going to stick with them. I don't feel good about it.
Yeah, I know. I hear you.
On the other side, he's going to make our defense look better, and I think they're going to come out with a W.
Yeah, a lot of infighting going on down there, Jacksonville. That Jalen Ramsey or whatever his name is. I'm tired of that act.
Yep.
Blake Bortles is a professional. He's trying his best. You can't throw those guys under the bus. All right, and then Sunday night, we got a pretty good one here. The Saints going up to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Who do you like there, Christopher?
I'm going to go with New Orleans. Love the Saints offense. Just think it's probably the most consistent with LA in the NFL.
All right.
Just going to go with New Orleans.
All right, I'll go against you there so we have some fun. I'll take the Vikings, and maybe my boy Adam Thielen can throw up some big numbers. All right, son. Well, thanks again. I love you, brother. You're doing well, and you really add to the show, and I'm glad we're able to hook up, and I appreciate you saving some time for the old man.
Okay, yeah, Dad, thanks. Love you, too. I'm always happy to come on.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you. All right, that's my son, number 55 for Springford High School way back in the day. And he had a great career there as an offensive guard and linebacker / defensive end, which those days I wish would have never have gone. But anyway, I'm Dave Ridenour, the Monday Morning Quarterback. Again, I want to thank Rick and Scotty and, of course, Rob Heist and Bill Hawthorne. It should be a good one on Friday night. Make sure you get yourself over to Pennypacker Field and then go home and watch us right here on the PCTV network. I'm Dave Ridenour, the Monday Morning Quarterback. Thanks for watching, and see you next Monday.